Have you ever felt like the day ended, but your work is still unfinished? You woke up in the morning full of energy. I'll finish everything today. But by nightfall, you realize it happened again. Emails are left, phone calls are pending, and the most important task is once again delayed. Have you ever asked yourself why this happens? Why do we always delay the very tasks that have the power to change our lives the most? Why do we stay busy with small things while drifting further away from our bigger dreams? This question used to bother me a lot too. And one day, I found the answer. In Brian Tracy's book, Eat That Frog. Brian Tracy says, if you had to eat a live frog every morning, the rest of your day would feel easy. Now, that sounds a bit strange. Eat a frog. But Tracy's point is simple. Do the task that's the hardest, that can make the biggest difference, and that you keep postponing the most. That is your frog. And if you have two frogs, eat the ugliest one first, meaning start with the toughest task. Because when you finish the hardest task first, every other task in the day starts to feel easier automatically. Tracy says, you can never do everything, but you can always do the most important thing. And that's the central message of this book. Every day, every morning, do the task that makes the biggest difference. Now let's talk about the mindset that defines your entire productivity. Brian Tracy says, the first step to success is clarity. If you're not clear about what you want, no matter how hard you work, your direction will still be wrong. Imagine you're driving a super fast car, but on the wrong road. Then speed is of no use. That's why Tracy says, set the table before you eat the frog, meaning make your goals and priorities clear. What's most important? What's just wasting your time? What will give you long-term happiness? Sit down with a pen and notebook and write your top 10 goals, because the goals that are written down are the ones that get achieved. When you write them, you're actually giving direction to your mind. Now the question is, when your goals are clear, how do you achieve them? Tracy's next principle is, plan every day in advance. Every successful person has one habit. They don't start their day with planning. They start their planning the night before. Because when you make the list for the next day at night, your subconscious mind works on it the whole night. In the morning, you wake up with clarity. And then, at the start of the day, there's no confusion, only action. Brian Tracy says, every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. That means spend 10 minutes planning and save 100 minutes. So before going to bed, write your to-do list for the next day. Then, in the morning, just execute that list. This small habit can increase your productivity tenfold. Now, Tracy shares a very powerful concept, the 80-20 rule. According to this rule, 80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts. But the sad part is, we spend 80% of our time on tasks that only have 20% impact. Tracy says, if you have 10 tasks, 2 of them will be worth more than the other 8 combined. Meaning, out of 10 tasks in a day, only 2 truly push your growth forward. The remaining 8 are just busy work. So ask yourself, am I working on that 20% which will make the biggest difference? If not, then leave everything else. Because those 2 tasks are the ones that determine the direction of your life. Now let's move to another golden principle, consequences. Tracy says, successful people are those who think before every action. What will be its long-term consequences? Every action has a short-term and a long-term effect. And the people who give up short-term comfort for long-term benefit, they are the ones who win in life. So ask yourself, if I do this task today, what will its effect be a year from now? And if I don't do it, what will be the loss? The task that strengthens your long-term goals is your priority task. That's your frog. Now, Brian Tracy introduces a very practical tool, the ABCDE method. It's a priority setting technique that boosts your focus power. In this method, assign a letter to each task. A, must do, or there will be serious consequences. B, should do, but not very urgent. C, nice to do, but has no real effect. D, delegate it. Then, among the A tasks, mark the most important one as A1 and start your day with that, because that's your biggest frog. And until it's done, don't do anything else, because discipline and focus are the biggest cures for procrastination. Tracy then talks about key result areas. In every person's work, there are about 5 to 7 areas from which the biggest results come. Your job is to identify those key areas. Ask yourself, if I become an expert in just one skill, which one will change my life the most? That should be your focus. Tracy says, your weakest key result area sets the height of your success. That means your weakest skill is your ceiling. So don't run away from your weakness. Improve it, because improvement is another name for growth. Tracy then says, there's never enough time to do everything, but there's always enough time to do the most important thing. He calls this the law of forced efficiency. Every day, time is limited, energy is limited. So it's essential to ask yourself one question before every task. What is the most valuable use of my time right now? Every time you ask this, your mind will automatically move toward the task that truly matters. Now let's come to a simple but powerful habit: preparation. Tracy says, when you prepare thoroughly, you're like a cocked gun, ready to fire. Before starting any task, keep your tools, files, desk, and environment ready. Because when everything is within reach, your mind stays free from distraction. Preparation is a signal that you're taking your work seriously, and the person who stays prepared is never left behind. Now let's talk about learning. Many times we delay a task because we feel, I don't know how to do this. Tracy says, lack of skill leads to procrastination. So the solution is simple. Learn. Learn something new every day. Read something every week that increases your value in your field. Because when knowledge grows, confidence naturally follows. Brian Tracy says, continuous learning is the minimum requirement for success. So even if you spend just 30 minutes a day on your growth, within a year, you'll be in the top 1%. Now, Tracy says, every person has some unique talent, something they do naturally, effortlessly. Your job is to recognize it. What's that one thing you can do without getting tired? Something that excites you and adds value to others. That's your strength area. Tracy says, identify your special talents and do more of those things. When you work within your natural strengths, you don't need motivation or a push. You enter a state of flow. Brian Tracy says that to move forward in life, you must identify your constraints, your limitations. Many times we wonder what's holding us back. But the truth is, it's not someone else. It's us. Every goal has one thing that slows you down. Identifying and fixing that is your biggest responsibility. Ask yourself, what is the one thing that, if I improve, will make all my other tasks easier or better? Once you identified that bottleneck, your speed increases many times over. Tracy then says that every big goal is achieved through small steps. He explains this concept with a beautiful metaphor. like people traveling through the desert toward oil wells place oil barrels at short intervals so that when they run out of fuel, they have energy to move forward again. Similarly, you too should divide your big goals into small milestones. When you complete a small step, it builds confidence within you, and you naturally move toward the next one. After that, he says, put pressure on yourself, but in a positive way. Most people wait for external deadlines, but successful people create their own deadlines. They hold themselves accountable. If you want, challenge yourself. I will finish this task today. Compete with yourself. When you put gentle pressure on yourself, your efficiency increases many times over. Tracy's next principle is maximize your personal powers. This means managing your physical, emotional, and mental energy in the right way. If you are tired, unhealthy, or stressed, you cannot remain productive. So treat your body like fuel. Good sleep, healthy food, and regular breaks increase both your focus and output. Remember, high performance doesn't come from hard work alone. It comes from high energy. After this, he introduces a very interesting concept. Motivate yourself into action. Has anyone ever told you not to wait for inspiration, but to become the inspiration yourself? That's exactly what Tracy says. Create positive dialogue within yourself. Tell yourself, I can do it, I'm the best, I will start now. Your brain believes whatever you repeatedly tell it, so motivate yourself every day. A positive mindset eliminates procrastination. Tracy's next principle is practice creative procrastination. It may sound strange, but it means you don't have to do everything yourself. Consciously delaying some tasks is also a sign of smartness. Not every task is important, so ignore small, low-value tasks and invest your energy in high-value ones. Then he says, do the most difficult task first. That's the core idea of this book. Start every day with the task that's the toughest, the one that scares you, or the one you tend to delay. When that task is done, your entire day feels lighter and more confident. After this, Tracy says, slice and dice the task. That means break a big task into smaller parts. A big task always feels intimidating, but when you divide it into small steps, it becomes manageable. Just take one small step, like writing the first paragraph, making the first phone call, or creating the first slide. Once you start, momentum builds naturally. Then he says, create large chunks of time. Big tasks need uninterrupted time. Turn off notifications, move away from distractions, and create a solid 90-minute block at once. Deep work creates deep results. Every time you enter focus mode, your efficiency multiplies. Tracy's next idea is develop a sense of urgency. This means increasing your speed and responsiveness. Successful people are fast. They don't just think, they act. When you work quickly, a positive energy builds within you. That very energy becomes your identity. For every task, tell yourself, do it now. This habit is the accelerator of your success. And the final principle is single-handle every task. When you start a task, don't leave it unfinished in the middle. Multitasking is an illusion. The more attention you give to one task at a time, the higher the quality of your output will be. Don't move to the next task until you finish the current one. This simple discipline can change your life. Brian Tracy says that when you follow all these principles, clarity, planning, prioritizing, learning, energy management, and focus, your productivity becomes exponential. You remain the same person, but your results change completely. He says, you cannot control time, but you can control what you do with it. Life gives everyone the same amount of time, The only difference is that some use it consciously, while others waste it. So now think, are you eating your biggest frog every day? Or are you just looking at it and postponing it? Brian Tracy says, if you have to eat a frog, don't look at it too long. That means don't be afraid of the task. Just start. When you do the toughest task first, your self-respect grows, your confidence rises, and a sense of happiness builds within. This is the positive addiction that takes your life to the next level. Complete one big task every day and feel that satisfaction. That's your real motivation. In the end, Tracy says, success isn't a secret. It's the result of habits. And these habits can be learned by anyone. Make a decision, stay disciplined, and move forward with determination. Nothing changes until you start. But the moment you take the first step, the whole world begins to help you. So from today, make a simple commitment. Every morning, do the task that's the hardest and has the biggest impact. That's your frog. And when you eat that frog every day, you'll see how easy and purposeful your life becomes. Because when you conquer procrastination, every battle in life starts to feel easier. And perhaps that's Brian Tracy's most beautiful message. Eat that frog, and you'll never fear the day again.